The United States of America and Russia. At a glance, you may think that all these two countries have in common is the maintaining of diplomatic trade relations. However, these two countries are also known for the highest marriage rates in the world. You know, when two people fall in love and get that urge to spend the rest of their lives together, a lot of Americans and Russians seem to be doing just that. But the question remains, did they do it the same? How do our ceremonial procedures differ from Russia? Do the brides in Russia have to have something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue? Or are the weddings there nothing like ours? Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you the ceremonial differences between the United States of America and Russia. Once again, I'm going to discuss the ceremonial differences between weddings in the land of the free and our trade relation partner Russia. After consulting numerous credible sites such as Master Russian, Ultra Travel, Honeymoon Stats and Facts, and the Intercultural Institute of Languages, I will be able to provide you with different customs, rituals, and traditions performed by both countries during the wedding process. I can assure you that I will present nothing but factual principles about wedding ceremonies in both countries, not to mention I've been to quite a few weddings in America here myself. You may be asking yourself, why would I want to know the cultural differences in wedding ceremonies? What happens if you venture out on a vacation to Moscow, Russia, and your eyes interlock with the love of your life? Okay, so maybe that's a little far-fetched. However, being informed on different cultural relations is very important, especially since there are all types of nationalities here in the US. If you've ever been to a standard wedding ceremony in the US, you're probably aware of the engagement process. You've probably seen the bridal party out and about celebrating the bride's engagement. And lastly, you're more than likely familiar with the romantic honeymoon that is usually planned immediately after the reception. Russia, however, differs in some of these categories. We'll start by comparing these two countries' wedding conditions in a chronological order. As many of you know, Americans start the wedding process by engaging to their significant other. However, this is not the case in Russia. Many people have witnessed American engagements or saw the pictures on social media. The future groom gets on one knee and presents his wife with a beautiful engagement ring. If she accepts, this means that the wedding planning will soon begin. Russia's engagement process, however, is a tad bit different. Master Russian states that engagement rings are even fairly new in the country. At least 1 month before the planned wedding date, the couple must go to the ZAGS, otherwise known as the Department of Registration of Civil Statuses. It's comparable to a wedding chapel here in America. Before the couple can go to the ZAGS, the groom must complete a variety of obstacles organized by the bridesmaids. On the way to the ZAGS, the groom must go to the bride's home and pay a ransom to her parents in order to continue to the ZAGS to complete the marriage. As you can see, the process and what you have to do in order to be determined married in Russia differs, although the differences don't stop here. In America, the bride and her party have bachelorette parties. However, this is not the case for Russian wedding customs. One of the many things that brides look forward to before marrying their soon-to-be husband is the bachelorette party. This is an opportunity that usually lasts a weekend and includes the brides and her bridesmaids going out to dinner, to clubs, and even on small weekend vacations. It's a time for the bride to enjoy her last few days as a single woman with all of her friends. According to Rachel South, the author of Wedding Traditions in Russia, found on the website of International Institute of Languages, the night before the wedding, the bride gathers all of her bridesmaids and they travel to a bathhouse. Here they all bathe together in order to protect the bride of the evil eye and to wash away misfortune and trouble. The cultural norm for brides and her party may differ between these two countries. However, both can be seen as activities to bring the woman closer together, whether it's going out on the town or ridding the bride of evil spirits. What about that romantic honeymoon that so many of us are familiar with? Traveling out of state and sometimes even out of the country is a very popular wedding American culture. Are Russian weddings accompanied by this luxurious honeymoon tradition? According to Honeymoon Stats and Facts, 99% of newly wedded couples here in America will plan a honeymoon trip. This planning is usually done by the bride, but input from the husband is also something to consider. Honeymoon Stats and Facts also states that 1.4 million honeymoon trips are taken each year just in the US. That's a lot of people from one country celebrating their new lifestyle. It's often a time of relaxation, traveling, and doing activities enjoyed by both parties. As I mentioned earlier, Americans usually take their honeymoon trip within a week of getting married, if not immediately after the reception. However, Russians make the excursion a little sooner. An article founded on the Master Russian website mentions that after the couple leaves the Zags, they venture out to different locations to take photos, just as many Americans do in between the ceremony and reception. However, newlyweds in America and Russia take up most of the day traveling to take photos and make memories. Sometimes this is recognized as a small honeymoon. This usually draws out the wedding to a 2-day event. However, after the reception, the bride and groom do go on to celebrate a honeymoon just as Americans do. Who knows? They may travel to the US for their honeymoons while some Americans travel to Russia for theirs. Although our honeymoon traditions are much alike, the length of the actual ceremonies do differ, possibly postponing Russian honeymoons by a day or two. I know if it were me, I would want to take a break after a long 2-day wedding. It's been made pretty clear that there are many differences between Russian and American weddings, whether it's the engagement process, the bridal party customs, or even the honeymoon. Let's review some of these differences. First, in America, the groom usually asks the bride's parents' permission for her hand in marriage and then proceeds to propose. However, Russian grooms must pay ransom to kidnap back their bride from her parents. Secondly, in America, the bride and her party go out to celebrate the soon-to-be married woman, while Russian bridal parties focus on ridding the bride of evil spirits by bathing together. Lastly, for both countries, honeymoons are a well-known custom. However, before this can be done, Russians have a tad bit longer of a ceremony, usually lasting 2 days. After the ceremony is complete, the new couple can celebrate this new chapter of their lives. Every fact and statistic I have given you just goes to prove how American and Russian ceremonial procedures differ. Thanks to Master Russian, Ultra Travel, Honeymoon Stats and Facts, and the Intercultural Institute of Languages, I've been able to provide you with different customs, rituals, and traditions performed by both countries. Remember, next time you take a trip to Moscow in hopes to find love, you can thank me for providing you with everything you need to know to make your intercultural wedding a success. You may be having to pay ransom prior to taking your future wife to the Zags. Maybe you'll be bathing with your bridesmaids, or even just planning a relaxing honeymoon for you and your new lifelong partner.